I'm in shock. So you've got a lot of the biggest names in the entire WNBA here. You've got Aja, you've got Kelsey Plum, you've got Paige Beckers, you've got Angel Reese, you've got Fee, you've got Cameron Brink, you've got Sabrina. So you've got a lot of the bigger names, if not the biggest names in the entire WNBA right here. And who's not there? It's Caitlin
Well,
Clark.
I hope
you guys
to God that eventually we find out that maybe Caitlin Clark was asked to do this and maybe she said no. Because if that's not the case, then the WNBA and the Players Association, the WNBA PA, and the league, to be honest, continue to disrespect the far and away biggest draw.
Just now, the WNBA made one of the most surprising business choices in. Angel Reese was chosen for sports history and 7 additional players for the official goods while utterly disregarding. This isn't just bad, their biggest star. This is a disastrous business. Optics. Sponsors are scratching their heads at this debacle. Their admirers and heads are enraged. The league's immediate apologies are already displaying.
I got a question. If you were going to market a product and the WNBA was going to be officially involved in it, would Caitlin Clark not be the number 1 overall draft pick that you would have? Well, to the Players Association and the people involved with it, I guess not. And this is baffling to me. It's terrible business.
In your opinion, what made this pure envy or simply bad business sense? Leave a comment with your ideas.
It's terrible business. It is failed business 101 at the highest level. It's baffling. I cannot even believe this. The WNBA Players Union chooses Angel Reese over Caitlin Clark in social media post. It's not just social media post. It's choosing her over Caitlin for something that involves merchandise sales. Are you kidding? What?
Let me explain this to you. Due to the absurdity of this circumstance, it nearly seems like a parody of the WNBA. The Players Association just revealed an formal collaboration with FN Cases 4. Authorized phone covers with 8 WNBA players sound regular, but they're not. Somehow they were able to omit Caitlin Clark, the individual that changed this league on their own. From background noise to a must-see television, this choice is so incredibly tone-deaf that it causes you to I wonder whether any WNBPA employees have ever completed a foundational business course. We're discussing the selection of Angel Reese, who's making 28% of the field goals while referring to it as historic over the athlete who regularly brings in $2 to $3 million each game. It's similar to McDonald's making the decision to advertise their fish sandwich while utterly disregarding the Big Mac.
This is how much they hate Caitlin misspelled. Very true. Like, I don't know what exact... So one player with people in their seats you don't include. It genuinely seems like everybody going mad about this. So this only started happening.
The list of items looks like someone's personal list of grievances instead of a strategic business choice that they featured Paige Buchers, who has participated in the league for almost 5 minutes. Yes, Cameron Brink has been hurt as a result of her revolutionary triple-double on the horrifying shooting proportions, while Caitlin Clark, a woman who sells out arenas and freezes streaming services, shoulder.
The biggest revenue churner, the biggest ratings, viewership draw, attendance draw, the whole, if it's a draw, Caitlin Clark's bringing them in droves and lined up to come in the door. I'm awaiting a record, some kind of a record rating for her return the other day against the Liberty. I'm awaiting for that viewership rating to come in for television.
This is what actually makes me think about this entire issue. Caitlin Clark recently returned from her injuries and scored 32 points, pulled down 8 rebounds, and 9 assists in the matchup with the Liberty. TV viewers had an appointment for the game, were thriving on social media. Insane, and the viewership was through the roof, but the WNBPA nevertheless had a look at that performance, saying, "No, let's move on." The player's shooting percentage is less than 30% from, rather than the field. The optics of this. Every decision is dreadfully bad. These phones only have one player. Instances where this angry expression is not one grin among many, as if they're attempting to scare clients away from purchasing their goods in the interim. Caitlin Clark, who genuinely understands marketing herself and establish a connection with her admirers, to be located almost as if they're, let's talk numbers. I'm allergic to success, as that's what matters most in Caitlin Clark's business when she plays games. 2 to 3 million viewers on average. When she fails to play, viewership declines to around 600,000. That's a significant change, not a little one. Total breakdown in audience participation. Any sane company would construct their whole marketing plan centered on those figures, but not the WNBA, which seems to be the announcement's timing makes it even worse. This occurs immediately after the victorious return of Caitlin Clark from harm, when she is surrounded by enthusiasm at its peak rather than taking use of that. The WNBPA made the decision to throw shadow, as if they're making an effort to undermine their own achievements. What's so annoying is how this contributes to each critique of the way the WNBA handled Caitlin Clark. During her first season, we witnessed players making nasty remarks and taking cheap shots. Remarks and overall behaving in her manner. They felt that success was offensive in some way. We now have formal league partnerships, keeping the same energy going. It's incompetent and, to be honest, embarrassing. The business ramifications of this. Decisions are made on much more than just phone cases. When prospective sponsors examine the way how does the WNBA handle its biggest star? Does that send a message? Would you like to spend money on marketing in a league that deliberately erodes its own golden goose? This type of trivial conduct makes the organization as a whole appears amateurish. Angel Reese is highlighted while making 28% of your shots from the field is. In particular, the media continues to referring to her as a recent triple-double history while obligingly disregarding that in order to score 24, she needed 25 shots. Points that aren't historically ineffective, but in some way, your performance, you'll be placed on official products. But Caitlin ignored is Clark's 32-point explosion. Cameron and other players' inclusion. Brink, who has been hurt for the majority of the season, poses important concerns about what are the specific selection criteria. These decisions are based on it. Isn't performance popularity for sure? Or common sense? It appears to be the only. Caitlin was not being named as required. Clark. This ruling also emphasizes the major cultural problems in the WNBA. There is undoubtedly a faction inside the league who are angry about Caitlin Clark's achievement and renown as opposed to accepting what she has to offer. They're always attempting to minimize her impact. Was disappointing. Self-destructive actions that cause pain. Everyone engaged was aware of the difference between how other leagues of sports manage their stars in contrast to Caitlin's treatment by the WNBA. In contrast to LeBron James, Clark is stern. Ruling the NBA, the league established whole advertising campaigns centered on him. Tom Brady's Super Bowl victories. He became the NFL's brand ambassador. However, when Caitlin Clark interrupts the show, records the WNBA and sells out arenas, tries to act as though she doesn't exist. Contrast with other sports, leagues' treatment of their stars in contrast to how the way the WNBA handles Caitlin Clark is glaring. When the NBA was dominated by LeBron James, The league created all of the marketing campaigns in his immediate vicinity when Tom Brady was. The NFL's Super Bowl victories made him the representative of their company, but when Caitlin Clark breaks records for viewers and the WNBA attempts to sell out arenas, don't act like she's real. What's even more annoying is that what Caitlin Clark has been is professional in spite of ongoing controversy. As she avoids social media drama, she doesn't offer justifications, and she still performs at a high level. Yet in some ways, she's the one receiving. Not included in league collaborations, the players featured in this product deal all have the same irate, distant appearance, as if they're attempting to frighten away possible admirers. Contrast that with Caitlin Clark's. She presents herself in a professional manner, friendly and sincere in their enthusiasm for. As the game grows, which image do you believe that this is more advantageous for company? Circumstance makes me think about how some people fail. Businesses intensify their poor tactics rather than adjusting to what is actually works. The WNBA has discovered a true superstar who makes mainstream focus on their merchandise, and there to marginalize her is the response. The fact that this constitutes commercial malpractice. Since the collaboration has an official license, it's worse. This isn't just any business producing illegal goods. This is the official players union, supporting specific athletes while purposefully leaving others out. It's a concise declaration of their priorities, because it seems that such priorities don't include increasing revenue or the fan base. Considering the larger context, this choice is made when the WNBA ought to be celebrating. Caitlin Clark's attendance has increased. Ratings are skyrocketing, and there is real general interest in women's basketball rather than making use of the momentum they're generating. Needless drama and conflict. The global ramifications are worth taking into account that Caitlin Clark has worldwide appeal and acknowledgement when fans around the world perceive her as not allowed to play in the official league. What does that tell them about the merchandise? Regarding how the WNBA regards its players, and horribly wasted opportunity. It feels like cutting all over. Despite your face, take your nose off. Finally, a competitor in the WNBA, with well-known athletes to garner attention and share their thoughts, and their answer is to minimize her official appearance. Partnerships are completely perplexing. From a strategic perspective, the response from fans has been quick, and social media is overwhelmingly negative, overflowing with people who don't believe. At this point in time, when your following is publicly challenging your company, choices that typically indicate you've made a grave error, the response from fans have responded quickly and in large numbers. There are a lot of unfavorable social media posts, people voicing their incredulity at this choice when your audience is publicly doubting your business choices. That typically indicates that you've made a grave error. Especially amusing is the fact that the partnership for products was most likely intended to take advantage of the WNBA's increasing appeal, but by leaving out the player mostly in charge of that development. In essence, they have weakened their own marketing effort, which is similar to advertising a concert without bringing up the timing of the main act. Couldn't be even worse. This news. The WNBA is currently negotiating new media rights agreements and attempting to establish itself as an authentic league for professional sports. When prospective partners observe this type of internal disarray and inadequate when making decisions, it brings up important inquiries concerning the company's proficiency. This choice also communicates a awful message for young admirers that are looking. It basically tells Caitlin Clark them that professionalism and quality are less significant than politics and personal grievances, which isn't the type of any sports league's culture should be encouraging. The rationale behind Caitlin's inclusion. Clark ought to have been in the majority. She clearly drives sales and viewership. Social media is generated by tickets, interaction, and attracts new followers in any. In a sensible corporate setting, she would been listed as the first name, however. Someone who is completely excluded. The most annoying thing is that this was entirely preventable if they had just featured Caitlin Clark in addition to the. For other participants, this would have been a good news on the league's increasing appeal. Rather, they have sparked a dispute that gives everyone a tiny appearance and not professional. The fact that this is even happening. Talk demonstrates how far the WNBA has come. Needs to continue in terms of professionalism. Administration of prosperous sports leagues. Avoid causing needless fuss around their biggest talents. They construct their whole marketing plan centered on them. This circumstance is an ideal microcosm of why it has been difficult for the WNBA to widespread acceptability over a long time. Rather than accepting what works, they always look for methods to undermine their own achievement, which is self-defeating. At the organizational level, the fact that Caitlin Clark will most likely deal with this circumstance in the same. Her professionalism and elegance are always indicates she has quit and won't make she'll make a public declaration or start a drama. Just keep up your excellent performance level as the league keeps treat her badly. This choice will probably be recalled as one of the WNBA's biggest marketing errors. Years from now, when people look back at returning to the way the league handled its greatest celebrity in her heyday, this will serve as Exhibit A in the instance of instantaneous organizational incompetence. Remorse is already displaying negative reactions, has acted cruelly and quickly toward fans, media figures, and even casual spectators showing shock at this choice when you're promoting. Announcement results in more negative, more focus than you've failed at your work in a fundamental way. Let's take into account the financial ramifications as well of this phone case bonehead decision. Despite their apparent smallness, sales are a portion of a broader ecosystem for retailing when fans cannot purchase official merchandise, highlighting their preferred player. They don't purchase anything or they visit. In any case, the league's unofficial sellers loses money, same to opening a dining establishment and declining to serve your most well-liked dish. The standard sets is just as concerning if the WNBA, the Players Association, is prepared to keep Caitlin Clark off of the products. Accords, what other collaborations could they? Sponsors are undoubtedly engaging in sabotage. Notes, and not one of them is favorable when you show that individual sentiments are more important than prospective partners for business success. Look elsewhere to see what's. The way this plays is especially glaring. Virtually each unfavorable stereotype regarding critics of women's sports organizations have maintained for a long time that internal politics and small-minded jealousies restrict women's. In sports, this choice offers support for their claims and undermines everyone's credibility. Incorporated the global viewpoint. Basketball is a game that exacerbates this. Worldwide athletics, and Caitlin Clark has worldwide acclaim that the majority of WNBA, by excluding players may only dream of her from the league's official merchandise, is basically informing international fans that their inclinations are irrelevant. It's disrespectful to the international community. This circumstance also affects the basketball community, draws attention to the age gap, older players, and the WNBA league. Caitlin appears to be a threat to officials. Clark's quick ascent to fame while, instead, her success is embraced by younger people. Of closing that gap through choices such as these. Merchandise partnerships increase the gap, can cause needless stress in the media. Coverage of this dispute has been extremely unfavorable to the WNBA. Business professionals, sports analysts, and every casual observer is wondering about the league's method of decision-making when your advertising campaign turns into a national disgrace. You've actually miscalculated by examining similar circumstances in other sports, it's challenging too. This tone deafness even extends to leagues. Internal disputes usually don't keep their top celebrities out of formal alliances that the NBA did not. Michael Jordan is frozen out during his disputes with the NFL's management, although minimized Tom Brady in spite of a number of disputes, but the WNBA seems to follows distinct guidelines. The economic. In actuality, professional sports leagues are there to make money, and every choice should be made with profit in mind. Assessed using that perspective by that standard, this connection for merchandise fails miserably. They've decided to featuring gamers without a driver's license, substantial attendance or viewership, while leaving out the single player who reliably provides the social. The response from the media has been harsh, and fans are publicly making fun of the WNBA's decision-making process and numerous